and compliance management. The OCC has come up with some revised director's handbook stuff. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the OCC recently updated their director's handbook, and these are not OCC specific items, so we think there's value here for everyone. First off, the booklet lists board responsibilities, and one of those items that was added with this update is to direct and oversee the compliance program. And it's kind of surprising that wasn't there before, but they also included reference to ensure effective controls are implemented and an effective audit program is implemented, including confirming that corrective actions are taken, are timely, and are effective. So I guess my takeaway from that part is make sure that we're getting the board the information they need. For example, are they kept in the loop on corrective actions? Are they being as they're being completed? Are we running past due on a certain item? Did we miss a deadline? And of course, it's no surprise that risk is discussed abundantly within this booklet. There's about 110 pages of actual content here, and risk is mentioned on 80 of them, sometimes multiple times. And I know we've talked here about risk assessments multiple times. One of the new areas that the booklet expands here on is risk related to new activities, new products, new services. Of course, the board responsibility is to oversee that process. And then the booklet gets into management responsibilities. And essentially here, the takeaway is you need to have a plan. So from a management perspective, understand why we're doing what we're doing, have policies, procedures, and controls, manage and control new technologies and new processes. And then finally, and what can often easily be overlooked or lost in the process, is going back and monitoring and making sure that actually what we intended to happen and occur is actually what happened and occurred. We hear many painful stories from people of system conversion, system updates, new products that messed with something else that didn't go as planned. And so that follow up of making sure what actually was intended actually occurred is really important. The booklet actually indicates that larger, more complex banks should have an independent assessment of their risk management. And it says that for smaller, less complex banks, the board should look at how internal audit incorporates risk management. And I would say the takeaway from there is make sure that your internal review, your monitoring schedule is based on risk. And if things have to be moved around, maybe a review condensed, make sure again that what you are able to look at is all based on risk. And also the booklet gives a listing of compliance officer responsibilities. And a few of the things that were added here are, again, to ensure an effective change management process is implemented. And then also develop and establish a reporting process to make sure that those people who need the information get it, have access to it, and then to implement and oversee job specific training. And that includes some kind of escalation process when that training doesn't get done. There should be something in place. There's also some information on reporting for like a chief auditor position, if that impacts you. There's an expanded summary on the enforcement actions, information technology, information security, as well as other areas. One thing that did jump out at me that isn't necessarily compliance related, but there is an appendix that gives common board committees, and that seems to come up periodically. So if that's something that you're asked at all, that would be a resource for you. So while the booklet isn't specific to compliance, it did give us a few takeaways as far as areas the OCC felt needed to be enhanced.